Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We are all George. So in this video, I want to give you guys some hope for what's going to happen this coming week. I believe there's 4 bullish events that will make you forget what has happened this past week. So thanks for tuning in. As always, smash up the likes, subscribe to the channel if you are new so you don't miss out on any of my streams in the morning and at night, usually 11 a.m. And 8 p.m., but on weekends a little bit off. But make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter and Facebook. And by the way, speaking about Facebook, I've noticed that people are impersonating me, just like people are impersonating me on YouTube with the comments. Don't fall for it. I'll never ask you to call a number or give you a bonus on a BTC deposit. So just FYI, if you see something like that, don't fall for it. All right, guys. This may be a short stream. I do have someone that's coming to my house if I fix my water heater, which is a whole other story. But I did want to stream for you guys and get this out right away because let's turn the screen here. As you can see, some people are feeling antsy about Bitcoin falling a little bit lower to $43,300. Obviously, a little bit lower than where we were yesterday, about 47-ish. And we've been seeing constant falling from Bitcoin slow fall, little bit, right? Overall, I think this is something that is perfectly normal. We have seen 30, 35, 40% drops many times in the past. If you didn't watch my video from last night, make sure you do so. I really cover how everything is as it should. When you're living through it, it doesn't feel so good unless you have the opportunity to buy, which you should. You should buy the dips. You have money on the side. It's definitely a good thing. But for those of you guys that's all in, right, it doesn't feel so good. But we were just at 20,000, 30,000 not too long ago, and no one remembers those days anymore. And those were only a few months ago, right? Same thing. After our next leg up, no one's going to remember this time period. But looking at our good old friends at F2 Pool, have they been doing more shenanigans, like I like to call it? Well, looking at this, yeah, their selling pressure is still ongoing. And I made this thing yesterday where I'm theorizing that whoever's behind it, the whales, F2 Pool, they're getting a little smarter. They don't want to make things jump out like this, where it's very obvious. What they're doing is selling a lot of Bitcoins through various transactions, and you could see what's going on here. The total exit here may not seem like it's that much, but when you add it up, it's still thousands of Bitcoins that's outflowing from F2 Pool. And this is very apparent when you compare it to, say, the 19th and 20th. Look at that volume and look at the volume now. So obviously there is still a lot of Bitcoins outflowing from F2 Pool. And looking at like BitMEX, I showed you guys this. You still see periodic inflows where it's just a good amount of Bitcoin that just flows into BitMEX, right? You figure these are actually not buying. These are actually selling, because right afterwards you see Bitcoin actually tank a little more. So there is some kind of connection there. And I'm sure there's other exchanges that I can't even find data on that this is also happening, right? So this is happening. Now, what's interesting is I did see one of my patrons sent me this, that Tone Vase, and invited Willy Woo, and just, asked him his overall thoughts. Willy Woo is a more technical guy, and he was asked directly by Tone Vase. And I'm glad this is spread around, because Tone Vase is like, everyone is talking about F2 Pool. Do you think this has something to do with it? Now, Willy Woo, I think he's a very smart guy. He kind of dismissed it. He brought this up on Glassnode. By the way, Glassnode, if you guys are watching, $799 for your monthly plan is a little bit too ridiculous, in my opinion. I want to sign up. I don't want to pay $800 to get access to your charts. So if anyone from Glassnode is watching, maybe you should think about that. But I did try to reach out to him to say, hey, maybe they can help me out too, to discover other things. Bottom of things. But look at this. Willy Woo even brought this up, and he's looking at the same thing: transfers from miners to exchanges. And it's pretty clear that the peaks are getting higher and higher, right? But then he moved it to a 7-day moving average rather than look at it from a smaller time scale. I think Glassnode doesn't have hourly like CryptoQuant, which you could clearly see if you do an hourly, there's huge massive inflows. But when you spread out over 7 days, it may not seem like that. So Willie Woo was saying that, well, if you look at this, it averages about 900 per day, which is high, but it's okay. I don't think there's a reason, but that's because he didn't zoom in, right? But it's clearly, even if you look at this, it's clear that the outflow is getting higher and higher and higher, right? So I just want to address that. But it's good that this is spreading. Everyone is talking about this phenomenon. It's undisputable at this point, in my opinion. Now, it could be that it's not F2 pool themselves. Some people are asking, well, if there's only 900 Bitcoins coming out per day, mine per day, how could they have tens of thousands? Well, F2 pool has been around for a long time. Their profits from their fees could have been accumulating for a long time. And it might not be them specifically. It could be whales that's been mining for a long time too that just happens to be on F2 pool. But we know that the outflow is only coming from this one pool. It's not coming from the second biggest pool in. It's not coming from the third Ant pool. It's not coming from Binance pool. It's not coming from any other pool outside of F2 pool. So there is definitely something going on there. And I'm glad to see that this is spreading. More awareness is going out, right? The more there is, I think the better it is. But ultimately, what we need to do, how we could stand up to this, is this collectively, we say, no more. We're not going to be panic selling. It doesn't matter if I'm new in the space, right? I'm going to have diamond hands. I'm going to have strong hands. Collectively, as long as we don't panic sell, we don't transfer our Bitcoin away, that's doing it right. We continue to hodl, continue to buy the dips, and then continue to hodl for life-changing wealth, right? So that's ultimately what it comes down to. Now, getting to the 4 positive things, 4 bullish events that's coming up this week. There's a few. The biggest one, I think, and a lot of people have been paying attention to this, is this. That the new stimulus package is being voted upon this week by the Senate. The House already passed it. There's a very, very good chance that the Senate will approve it too, because the Senate is both houses. I mean, yeah, both. What about it? The House of Representatives and Senate. What do you call it? The both. I'm missing the term there, but you get what I'm saying. Both sides are dominated by Democrats, so there's a good chance that this gets approved right away. So what does this mean? Well, this means there's a lot more money flowing into pockets of a lot of Americans. In fact, this would give another $1,400 per person on top of the $600 that were received earlier this year. So that's a lot of money that's going to be flowing into a lot of people's pockets. So a lot of people, analysts, are predicting that the markets are going to be carried by this going forward. Once again, 1.9 trillion is a lot. So not only is there direct deposit benefits to people, but also benefits for unemployed and if you're behind your rent and mortgage, your children, you get more money if you have children, if you're sick, health insurance, small businesses. There's a lot of things that this helps with. TOA, I will do that. Thank you. So this is coming up. And the last few times that we received a stimulus package, things were very, very, very good. The one from last year that really set things off, I mean, 20% of the money supply was printed in 2020 alone. So think about how much money actually got created out of thin air. People are worried about Tether. Think about how much money was created by thin air, by the Treasury, and handed out to everyone, right? And then earlier this year, we had a little bit more, and now we're getting a little more. So I don't know. Last year was 20% of money supply. From 1 year, maybe this year, another 10, 15%. This is a lot of money flowing into the hands of the people. So I think this is a big bullish thing. Now, of course, it's not approved yet, but I do think there's a very good chance this is approved right away, just like it got approved in the House right away. So yeah, this is a pretty bullish event. If the stock market is rallying, there's almost no way if the stock market is rallying, that crypto and Bitcoin doesn't rally. It's always tandem. Like, this is one case where decoupling is not or not decoupled is a good thing. Where if the Wall Street guys are making money, everything's going up, a lot of that money flows into crypto. But on the reverse side, there are a lot of times where crypto and Bitcoin has decoupled from a stock market, where the market is tanking or just not doing as well, but Bitcoin continues to go higher and higher and higher. So this is number one. This is coming. Now, number two, some people looked at this as a negative. I see it as a very positive. Grayscale. A lot of people have been talking about how Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust Premium has turned negative. And people are very, very fearful, saying, well, that's a horrible thing. You know, because before premiums were high as 40%. When Bitcoin was flying, the premiums were really high. And now that we've taken a setback, a little breather, has gone down. I think this is fantastic because Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, honestly, is created for institutions. Institutions that want exposure to Bitcoin, they're going to try to get it through something like Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Now, there is the Bitcoin ETF that's out. So that's an alternative, but still, the trust is the big dog. And you have investment companies like ARK Invest that is buying millions and millions and millions of GBTC. And when they see a discount, they buy. ARK Invest is known for buying Tesla when it's down. They're also known for buying Bitcoin when it's down. So I do think having a negative premium is also a very good thing. It gives an opportunity for these institutional investors to buy more. And as long as they keep buying more Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, guess what? Grayscale is utilize that money to buy more and more Bitcoin. They hold a lot already, but I think it's going to go a lot higher. So this is also pretty positive in my opinion. I think going forward, the premium is actually low. It's like they're getting free money because right now the premium is at negative 266. Basically, you could buy it for less than what you can buy Bitcoin for. I mean, that's what it means. So you're actually getting almost a 3% discount on top of what Bitcoin is right now. So as an institution, when you have millions and millions, tens of millions that you want to invest, why would you not take advantage of a 3% discount right now when you're buying Bitcoin? So this is also, I think, a very big thing going forward into this week. Now, there is one other thing. I'm not a fan of this, but I do think this is going to help. You know how I've been talking about Bitcoin futures a lot, right? But there is one other derivative that exists, and that's Bitcoin options. Now, CME does have Bitcoin options based on futures, but that just started. But there is one other derivative exchange out there called Dirbit, that actually has a ton of volume for Bitcoin options. And guess what? If you look at it, there is an expiration. There's pretty much expiration every Friday for options. And there's many other expiration times. But you can see that there's one ending tomorrow. There's one that's ending on Tuesday. And there's a big one ending on Friday. And guess what? Look at the volume, right? Look at the volume by calls and puts. Calls is meaning you're going long. Puts are meaning you're going short. The vast majority of the volume is all calls, especially the one ending on the 5th. So unless, these big whales, right, that are playing options that don't mind losing hundreds of millions and millions of dollars with their calls, they're probably going to do something about it. So I'm thinking with this many call options set to expire on Friday, there is going to be some kind of bullish movement up this week. So I think this also is a driver that some of the whales that's been pushing Bitcoin down, well, guess what? There's inverse whales. There's bullish whales. There's whales that want things to go up, right? And I do think there is one whale or multiple whales that will try to do something and not want to get liquidated on about 3,800 option calls, and I think that could also be a big factor going into this week. Now, the last one, the fourth one, is a technical thing. Now, I'll be the first to admit my technical skills, amateur at best, but you know what? I do look at patterns, and what I'm seeing right now is we're very, very similar to what happened to last month. when Bitcoin crashed down from 42,000 down to about 28,000 before it doubled from 28,000, right? You could see that I'm on a daily chart, by the way. I'm going to move my camera. I just realized my camera's out of place. Let's see, something like, no, that's not right. Something like that. But zooming in a little bit, you could see 42,000 went down to 28,000, right? Before coming back up. Now, during this period, you know, it went sideways a little bit and then it just came up really quick. But the thing I want to look at is you look at something like stochastic RSI, it topped out, it bottomed, right? RSI, traditional RSI, and this is on a daily scale, it didn't bottom, but it got to about 43, a little bit lower than halfway, right? And then you could see MACD at this point was full on red, and then it started turning. And if you look at where we are now on the daily, very, very similar. Stochastic is bottomed out just like this. RSI just crossed below 50, and it's right around 45, 44, which is very, very close to the same point that Bitcoin flipped around last time. And you could see from a MACD perspective, it is at basically peak red. And if the next bar turns, you know, like pinkish and it starts going up, then it mimics exactly the same point when Bitcoin started to turn around last month, and not a year ago, just last month. And we know there are very, very similar things that has been happening, especially with F2 pool, with futures expiration, right? With a lot of things, it's like it's rhyming, right? History doesn't always repeat, but it tends to rhyme. And that is what it's also looking like. So from a technical standpoint, on a daily chart, it's actually looking like it's very good. It's on the verge of turning around. And with all these other factors at play that I just mentioned, I think there's a very bullish case for this upcoming week. Bitcoin has fallen for the past week. Yes, we've lived through that. But like I said before, once we make the next leg up, no one's going to remember what happened here. Just like no one remembers how it took literally 1 month for us to break 20,000. And no one remembers that Bitcoin actually fell from 20,000 down to $16,000. Does anyone remember that? Does anyone remember the second time it fell down to about $17,000? No one remembers that. All we do remember is it went from there to $58,000. But in between, there's a lot of dips, a lot of pauses. And if you look at any bull run in Bitcoin's history, there's always a lot of 30, 35, 40% dips. So this is perfectly natural, which is why none of you guys should be panicking. If anything, you should be panic selling, and I'm panic buying, and dollar cost average on your way up, and that's how you find a true bottom. All right, so those are 4 things I want to talk about. Hopefully it reassures you guys a little bit. I went through really quick. The water heater guy's not here yet, so I do have some time for Q&A. So let's do it. Wow, that's a big super chat, Anthony. Muse ERC token is outperforming the entire market. They started Uniswap for NFTs, and the supply is lower to BTC. What are your thoughts? Would you buy here? Are you part of the team, man? That's a big super chat. I've been asked a lot about Muse recently, and I'm neutral on it. A low market cap, first of all, doesn't really mean anything. Like, if I create a George coin and there's only like one in existence, doesn't mean that it's going to make it the most valuable token ever created. So having a lower supply doesn't really mean all that much. It helps, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be better than Bitcoin. Now, in terms of NFT gallery and selling NFTs is really hot right now. There's no doubt about it, right? But this doesn't really show up for me for some reason, and you know what? I'm not so sure this is complete. It even says beta. And this is horrible font. So, I mean, it's up and coming, that's for sure. But I can't say that it's ready for full blown adoption just yet. Vahe Appreciate it. V. Sorry if I butchered your name. I'll talk to you later about that. What else is there? Roger. Welcome, George. Someone asked, if stocks crash, won't crypto crash? Well, it depends on what kind of crash. Because if you look at the performance of Bitcoin versus the performance of stock market within the last 6 months, let's say, you would see that Bitcoin has decoupled. Because Bitcoin continues to do this, and the stock market has been doing this, but a lot less extent, right? And there's been days where stock market tanks and Bitcoin is just fine. So there are days where it is decoupled. But if you're talking about a full-blown Dow is down 3,000 points, yeah, it's going to cause panic. In those situations, people that are holding stocks and Bitcoin, they get fearful, they sell. So it's not completely decoupled from that aspect, right? Because there are still a lot of retail investors that hold both. But if you're looking at for a long term, ever since about 6 months ago, Bitcoin's performance has really decoupled away from stock market and decoupled away from basically anything else, even gold, because gold has been going down in a big way and it never really went above again, where Bitcoin continues to go higher. So, is Super Farm a scam? I don't think it's a scam. I think it's just too much attention to it, maybe. I mean, I know it does. A couple influencers are behind it. They talk about a lot of people talk about it. NFT pool farming. I still don't get the concept of NFT pool farming. It's just like liquidity farming, like yield farming, but they do it with NFTs, which I still don't get why. Like, what's the point? You're not getting the NFT. You're just getting rewarded. And then with that rewards, you could buy NFTs, but why are you staking it into NFT liquidity pool? I still don't get that concept. So I don't think it's a scam, but it's just like, could be a fad at this point. Chef Raf asks, is there a chance that people hedge with crypto against the stock market as we are seeing what happened against the US dollar? Yeah, of course. There's a lot of smart people out there. Besides institutional investors that realize what's going on. I just got done saying that, the entire money supply of the US dollar, 200 something years of fiat. Actually, I take that back. I don't think it's 200 something years. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but it's a long time. But 20% grew in a single year. And this year will probably go grow another 10, 15%. So think about it. When you have a pile of cash, now it's this much bigger. Of course, everything is going to inflate. It's worth less, right? So a lot of people are looking at ways to preserve their wealth. If you have a large amount of cash sitting in your bank account, this is what Michael Saylor said. It may seem very impressive. You have a large amount of cash, but your buying power decreases 10, 15% every year. So if you just hold it there for 10 years, it actually is worth a lot less. Everything that you could buy with it is a lot more. Yet, if you compare, let's say, everything you could buy with Bitcoin, that number keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. That's what you want. You don't want the reverse of that. So yeah, definitely plays a big part. And that's why institutions are also all gung-ho about Bitcoin, is because they're trying to hedge against inflation. It's the same thing. Career Use says, I sold on my Tesla at 840 and got BTC at ADA. Well, you seem to have done it right because you caught it at top. Tesla is a little bit shaky. All the shorters are coming out, trying to attack Tesla, saying, they made such a bad move buying Bitcoin here and there. They're all going to get destroyed. Tesla and Bitcoin together is going to be the strongest force ever known in history. DCR. I have no idea what DCR. Decred? Decred is a privacy coin. Not too bullish on privacy coins going forward. What are your thoughts on BitTorrent? I think it's being pumped for no good reason. It has been going up quite a bit, but you know what? There's times where it does get pumped quite a bit and it just goes nowhere. There's not a lot of excitement going on with Tron, so I feel like this is how they're generating excitement, somehow causing a pump on BitTorrent. But I still don't hear anything about it. I don't hear more people utilizing it, utilizing TRX or BDT on any of the the Tron DApps or projects they bought. There just seems like there's no integration. There's no roadmap to get it all to work seamlessly together. I think that's the main concern. Rich, buddy, I appreciate that. Yes, if you guys are watching, make sure you hit the thumbs up, smash the like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Follow me on Twitter also, and be careful about those impersonators. They're really good at utilizing my name, my logo, but I would never ask you to send me BDC, like to get a bonus or call this number to talk to me. Watch out for those. And speaking of which, a lot of you guys volunteer to be comment moderators on my YouTube channel. I need you guys to help me and continue to comment the bots, because it's like every single 5 minutes, 10 minutes, there's a new bot that's trying to impersonate me. So if you guys are a comment moderator, make sure you try to remove them. Well, I appreciate it if you do. Thank you. What else? Anything else? Zidar asks, Aave OMG analysis. Aave is fine. It's just that right now, obviously, things are down. It's definitely at a discount, but I haven't heard about any rumors with Aave moving to layer 2, which I think they're on the verge of doing. They have to. They have to be able to survive. So I think some kind of announcement of them moving to layer 2 will happen pretty soon. Maybe even OMG. OMG is a layer 2 solution, but I don't hear many DeFi projects moving to OMG for some reason. Maybe they're too corporate, because OMG did get bought out by some company. I forgot who it was. So, but yeah, I think Aave will really regain itself after they announce some kind of layer 2 solution. Raja, I appreciate that. The DJ asks, is TrueFi still a valid option to hold? I think so. TrueFi is very unique. They're doing the path of what Aave did back in the day, and that is to come out with uncollateralized loans. And they already have customers. The tens of millions that's been loaned out, that's been repaid, high interest, and their staking mechanism is very interesting. You get to vote on whether or not those loans get approved. So TrueFi, I think, is a very underappreciated project. I created a video on them. Obviously a little weak right now because what's going on in the market, but I still think they're good. They're interesting concepts. I don't really hear anyone else really do uncollateralized loans. Doesn't matter, asks, is Neo dead? It's not. It's just they've been working on their Neo 3.0 forever, and they don't really tell you when it's going to be done. I looked into it like not a month ago, like a week ago. I'm like, what's going on? When is it going to be done? What's the roadmap? They're like version 5 right now or something. Neo 3.05. It's supposed to be really good if it's done, when it's done. But right now, just don't know. Just don't know. I think they're trying to move to DeFi too, because they kind of co-created this project called Flamingo that's exclusive for Neo, but not a lot is going on right now. Well, Michael, as my portfolio is BTC, ADA, Link, VET, okay. Which one is best short-term, long-term? Out of what you're holding, well, ADA, Link, they're all good. They're all good. So you're holding on basically all the big protocols, right? Besides Bitcoin, you got Cardano, Chainlink, Cosmos, VeChain, Solana, Tezos. They're all good. I don't know. They all kind of move in tandem. ADA obviously has been really, really killing it as of late. So short term, they could be the fastest moving. But it really doesn't matter. You want to play long haul, right? Chris, appreciate that. Sound too low? Maybe I'm too far away from my microphone. Apologize for that. VeChain is good. I don't know too much about Icon anymore. I haven't kept up with them. A lot of people keep asking about Reef. I don't really want to comment on Reef anymore. I feel like there's just too many people that keeps trying to shill it, but it's not a complete project yet. Would you buy a miner or would you buy stock of that mining company? I would just buy the stock for me. So it's just like if you wanted to create a mining rig, say you wanted to spend like, I don't know, $5,000 to buy GPUs and everything to start an Ethereum mining rig. I would rather just spend that $5,000 to buy ETH. I think your payback is a lot faster and you'll make a lot more. What are your thoughts on BDT, Netflix potential? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Timothy, I appreciate that. Netflix, I think, would rather deal with, say, Theta than BTT. Theta has all the traction in terms of decentralized streaming. So Theta is a really good project. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to prepare for this guy to come to my house to fix my water heater. But in the meantime, Bitcoin's a little weaker, a little bit down from yesterday. But like I got done saying, we just need to hold strong. Don't panic sell. Take advantage of the low prices when you can. A lot of bargains. I created a video just yesterday about it, right? But I do think there are a lot of things coming up this week that are quite bullish that can actually drive Bitcoin and the market up in a big, big way. So hang in there, hang tight, and we will see this next leg up sooner than expected. All right? Take care, guys. Have a good day. I don't know if I'm going to stream tonight. Maybe I will, but either way, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow me on Twitter and Facebook. All right.